Been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.
Be sending a letter to the Des Moines School Board authorized by Dr. Roberts to resign his position as the superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools.
Us here in Des Moines.
Breaking news at 4. As you just heard, Dr. Ian Roberts is submitting his resignation as superintendent for Des Moines schools. It comes just days after he was detained by ICE.
We want to fight.
And before that announcement, students at Des Moines Public Schools walking out of school in support for Roberts. KCCI has been working hard to learn more about the detainment of Dr. Ian Roberts.
That arrest happened last Friday. We have live team coverage for you right now from the news we just heard hours ago from Dr. Roberts' attorney to reactions from students and families within Des Moines schools.
And we start this afternoon with KCCI's Pepper Papura with the very latest information that we just received from the U.S. Department of Justice. Pepper, it's now investigating the Des Moines Public Schools for, quote, race-based employment practices.
That's correct, Jody, but we do not know if this investigation is related to Roberts' arrest. The Justice Department sent a letter to the school district telling them about the investigation. It says the department is looking into hiring practices across DMPS. The investigation was sparked by information that the district's employment practices, quote, discriminate against employees, job applicants, and training program participants based on race, color, and national origin in violation of Title VII.
Absolutely correct. You know, when I see people on the left and these kids are walking out and these reporters, there are Facebook friends of mine I have because apparently this man is a part of a fraternity group that is also that a lot of my relatives are a part of. My question is to you, what crimes won't you support? You support murder. You support rape. You support armed robbery. You support squatting. And you vehemently support basically illegal immigration. What this man shows is that there were legal citizens that were passed up for this position, but that this man was pushed through, hired, and even rose to the level of superintendent, all based on DEI practices. Diversity, equity, inclusion. You know, I could look at this dude and tell he wasn't American black. For one thing, he wasn't bald. For two, he was dressed dapper. For three, he was well-spoken. For four, I didn't really necessarily hear him complaining and leaning on racism because he's not a mentally ill person insecure about how he was born. He's an immigrant. He made his way over here and he had a choice. He could either go the legal route and pursue a life here in the United States, or go the fraudulent route, roll the dice, and just see how long he could make it before somebody caught him in the system. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He knew. It's just like, remember the other black kid that wore a stethoscope and a lab coat and was pretending to be a doctor for months at a hospital. Or some of these women that pretend to be nurses. And eventually they're captured and they're arrested and they file charges. This man was doing the same thing. The question is how? This is a school with children. If they'll let in an illegal alien who doesn't even have proper documentation, what makes you think they won't let in a predator, child molester, a trans person with heavy mental disabilities that has a history of targeting children, harming children? It shows that basically, if you're the right color, if you check the right box for your sexuality, that there really is no screening process, because there's no way in God's green earth with the systems we have now, with a track trace database, with digital IDs they're trying to pass around, with all of the ways that you can screen and scan and check people out. There's no way in hell this man magically just slipped through the cracks. Somebody pushed him through the cracks. A system enabled that person to push him through the cracks. We got lucky this time, but regardless of how you want to cut it, he could have endangered these children. You can't say he did because you don't know shit about him. You don't even know where he's from. You're barely just now finding out he's an illegal who made it to superintendent. That means now we have to double back and recheck everybody everywhere because there could be more. There could be more predators. There could be more people who do not legally qualify or should not be in these positions that are there. Now, luckily, he was not a child predator. That was 50-50. He could have been calling kids in the room and having their way with them, and God knows how long he would have went on without getting caught because, well, who wants to be responsible for firing the first black male superintendent? See, they care more about identity than they do about the law. They care more about check boxes and ESG scores and DEI than they care about the safety of these children. You cannot have just anybody around these kids. If this person has a criminal record, if this person's an illegal, being in this country illegally makes you a fucking criminal. Stop trying to add a new goal line. Well, yeah, they're here illegally, but that's not illegal. What the fuck? What are you saying? That is illegal. That's the whole purpose of you saying that they're here illegally. Just because he's black, it doesn't mean he's not an illegal. It does not only apply to people that look Mexican. There's a whole gauntlet of people who snuck in this country illegally that we don't know their history. We're not able to run their background because we don't know who the fuck they are. We don't even know where they came from. Before they come into the country, they were dumping their homeland's identifications on the ground and just basically creating a whole new identity. You don't know if they just got out of prison where they came from. There's no way for you to check. You really don't know their name. You don't have a social security number on them. There are no fingerprints in the system. You don't know who they are, what they're about. You don't know their danger. You don't know if they're safe. You don't know anything. But you want them to drive school kids to school. You want them to sit in classrooms with kids alone for 8 hours. You want them to be the superintendent looking over other teachers. But what if they find other teachers that are into what they're into? Then who's going to stop them then? Eventually they'll get caught. But how many victims in between? And will you take solace knowing that your child was a victim? Will it make you feel better that nobody else is going to be a victim, just your child? Or would you feel better knowing your child it didn't happen to your child because measures were in place and they were followed? This is the product of DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. They wanted to show how diverse they were in a small, big city like Des Moines, Iowa. Well, blacks are victims, so we need to hire more. But get the fuck, that's not why you hire people. You hire people based on their skill, what they can do, not on what a piece of paper says they can do. This is crazy. This is dangerous. But everybody wants to defend them and feel bad about them. I'm an American. There are no more laws for him than there are for me. So you mean to tell me I'm supposed to be beneath the law, but because he's an immigrant, he's black, he's above the law. So the laws are not equally applied to him. So if I'm an American, right, and I'm drunk driving and I crash into somebody, if I get arrested, nobody cares. Well, you did a crime, you got arrested. But magically, when the same system of laws are applied to these illegals, well, now it's a crime against humanity that this person is literally being held to account for breaking the same laws that I live under. I too live under immigration laws. When I go to other countries, which I frequently do, I'm also an immigrant and I have to follow their laws. And if I run afoul of their laws or overstay my visa, I'm a criminal. I will be arrested. I will be deported. There is nothing unique about our system here. It's not even special. It's fairly run of the mill. I speak English. I can't just go to England right now and just say, I'm just going to stay here indefinitely. Just pour me chips and crumpets and I'm just going to sit on. I will be the fucking deported fast as hell. Overstay that visa. Break some of their laws. There's no difference here. The problem is you're hiring these people to be around fucking kids. But you don't even you're worried about, oh, Fox News is lying on them. What lie did they tell? This man literally resigned. What lie is mainstream media? What lie are they telling about this man? What did they say that was a lie? Nobody can tell me, so that means you're lying. You're being disingenuous. You're okay with the laws being applied to you, but you don't want the laws applied to somebody else. You support criminality. You're a problem. People that support criminals, I don't know what space we have cut out for them in the republic. They want to live in a constitutional multicultural democracy. We don't live in one of those. We live in a constitutional republic. We don't live in a multicultural democracy. I don't know where these people go. These people who want criminals when we don't, we're not, coexistence is out the window. It's gone. Now, I have been doing some research. There are other countries where there are no laws. There's actually a place in Peru. There's no laws. So I will make the suggestion going forward that the people here that are illegal, that are being deported, and those who support those being deported and want to stop that, you should go with them. Build up your own cities, build up your own society where there are no laws and you can be who you want. There's no immigration, there's no laws against immigration, no laws against rape, murder. You can commit all the crimes you like. But you're going to have to relocate there because this is not the best fit for you. Because all you're going to end up doing is getting put in a box here. Either a box with bars or a box made out of pine. And is it really worth it? Wouldn't you just rather live and go somewhere else? I mean, this country is racist and oppressive, right? It's not worth dying over. So why are you still here?
A news release on the investigation says DMPS has an affirmative action plan that includes quotas. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet K. Dillon called for the district to cease any such practices and, quote, restore merit-based employment.
Quotas? You mean the hell tell me you hired someone to be the superintendent that doesn't have a social security number? You couldn't do a background check on him because he doesn't have a social. You don't know where he came from originally. You don't know anything about him. He's an illegal who basically used all fake information to get this job. You had him working around kids, all because you wanted to meet a fucking DEI quota that everybody black that I see on TV keeps telling me doesn't exist. What an odd thing to say.
Practices. A spokesperson with Des Moines Public Schools says the Justice Department informed the district this afternoon about that investigation. They are reviewing the letter. We've reached out to Iowa's lawmakers over the area that DMPS serves, and we'll have some of their reactions coming up later this evening. Ben.
Okay, we'll look forward to that report in a little while, Pepper. Thank you. We did gain some more insight today from Dr. Roberts' attorney during a news conference with his legal team.
And our Bo Bowman had the chance to ask several questions during that press conference. Bo joins us now in studio. Bo, walk us through what we all learned here.
Well,
this goddamn Ningwen is just as much a doctor as Dr. fucking Pepper. This Ningwen is just as much doctor as fucking Dr. Dre. No credentials. They call me Dr. Rico on Clubhouse. So is he my colleague? Is he my peer? Me and him were both doctor. I'm Dr. Rico. That's Dr. Ian Roberts. It sounds like a Supreme Court justice name. The amount of bullshit and fucking fraud and he's around kids. Kids. It's not like he forged his application so he can go be, a manager working in sewers or in the septics or doing janitorial work and where they're picking up trash or something away from children. He wants to be a superintendent of a school around kids. He's obviously not a doctor. He's an illegal. He didn't get a doctorate in his home country and then come over here because you would have had to use your real information. You wouldn't have been able to use your fake information. And your real information, you would have been flagged. So he had to use fake information to get pushed through. They just didn't basically do the safety protocol where they check everything. Or they did and they just overrode it. Some of these people are slick. He probably had a really good excuse. Actually, my father, he changed his last name to this. Then he was in a car accident, but then he was also adopted. You muddy the waters well enough, somebody might just say, you know what, man, just go. Depending if you get the right person. He was able to bypass the security screening at a school. So this motherfucker could have really just been doing surgery on you too. He could have been a fake Doogie Howser. Or he could have been a fake dentist. He could have faked his way into anything. And God knows what kind of damage he could have done before he was charged. This man also was in a fraternity, allegedly, too. So he's in a frat, then that means the schools didn't check him or they knew he was illegal, but they still let him work. Now, I can see if he was going through the process of naturalization, he had been married and he was he was going through the process. Okay, cool. If this is a paperwork thing, that can be sorted out. But why would he resign if this is something just as simple as a clerical error? Obviously, this is more than just a clerical error.
Jody, first and foremost, we learned that Roberts had submitted that letter of resignation to the DMPS school board through his attorney. They'll meet tonight to decide whether to terminate his contract or accept his resignation. We also learned that his team of attorneys have filed a motion to stay in his immigration case.
Yeah, big boy right here. No, they fucked up. Big boy probably feels guilty like, why are we even taking his money? This man is cooked. We got Trump, baby. I don't care how many lawyers you got, you're cooked. Even Enrique Abrega, Fuego, whatever the fuck that guy's name is from El Salvador, the MS-13 dude, even they brought him back from El Salvador just to get his monkey ass sent to fucking South Sudan. He's already up out of there. And the media is not talking about him no more because they lost. It's not even an issue no more. So if Ilmar, Elbrego, whatever the fuck his name is, if that dude is gone, then this guy is gone. So what he did was he just wasted his money on lawyers, but he probably paid with a bad check because he knows he's going to need access to his funds. But, you know, that's the funny part about crime and criminals, right? Some people, they think shit is sweet. They'll get away with doing a crime so much that in their mind, they think it's legal. Like you meet people that drink and drive, and they get away with doing it so often that they're like, oh yeah, there must not be any laws against driving drunk. This guy must have forgot who he was and that this was supposed to be a temporary thing. He ended up getting himself comfortable, started doing press conferences and doing public speaking engagements, pretending that he's really not an illegal, pretending he never heard of Donald Trump and did not know that the ICE and Health and Human Services and Homeland Security was going to be on that ass. By now, he should have already gotten a few of his checks sent to an offshore account in Panama. He should have already been making arrangements to bug out, come up with an excuse saying there's a family member that's sick in another country, and just and maybe come back if we lose the next election. But no, this fucker was so bold, he just sat here, played in your face, and said, what you gonna do about it? Well, this is what we're gonna do about it. This is what we're gonna do about it. This is what we're doing.
Attorney Alfredo Parrish.
He could have just self-fucking deported too. Literally.
Says he couldn't give any further comments on that motion, but he added they're also in the process of filing a motion to reopen his immigration case. I asked Parrish why Roberts wasn't present for the hearing in 2024 when that final order of removal was issued. He wasn't able to tell us much, but here's what he did say.
We will be filing a motion to reopen.
They are not, there's already a motion to remove, and he went on the run. He didn't even show up to that court date. And this was back when, before even Trump took office. So it's not about Trump. He does not respect our system or our laws. He didn't even show up because he didn't want to be, because he knew he was going to get removed. There's a reason. And if they were removing him, they're not about to reopen his case. These lawyers are shysters. This Uncle Ben looking motherfucker with these glasses is just a shyster. He's just taking this man's money. The man's going to realize it's hopeless, and he's going to stop paying these guys, and he's going to go back to his country. But remember, a lot of these countries were sending us people directly from their prisons, and this was a part of their release. You go to the United States. We don't know what this man is hiding in his past, and that's the problem with these illegals. We don't know their history. When you don't know somebody's history, that's dangerous. It's dangerous as hell. People have a history for a reason. We call it a record because to know where somebody's going, you got to know where they came from. And that's just the bottom line.
The case. And once we do that, we'll be ready to rock.
When you say reopen, can you tell us what you're trying to reopen?
Reopen his closed file.
There's a chance that would be.
We don't know yet. That's why I tell him I rely on my smart lawyers, not me.
Now, Parrish's reasoning for reopening the file is due in part to this letter here. Parrish says Roberts' former attorney from this Texas firm informed him that his case had reached, quote, a successful resolution. He says if Roberts was misinformed, that could be grounds for reopening the case. Jody?
But we will keep our eye and pulse on that. Thank you very much. Students took a stand by walking out of class today. Des Moines high school students are speaking out against ICE and what they're calling unrighteous detainment.
Yeah, you could see a large group of students that had.
Don't tell me these are gay kids in masks. Do you know what level of indoctrination it takes to tell a kid that they have to wear a mask to virtue signal, where they're holding up signs for laws that they've never read or they don't understand? They're literally, it used to be the universities, but now even the high schools are turning your kids into gay LGBT activists that basically will never have careers, they'll never have jobs. Activism and protesting will be their career. You know, activists don't have kids. They don't have families because they're always tied up trying to look for the next thing to grift off of or to protest. There's no stability. This next generation is already too, where they're not going to be able to even fill up the colleges. You know, this country's in a lot of trouble with this whole population collapse. And this is a generation right here that is not having kids. They're gay. That's a huge part of their identity. When you're wearing a mask like that, you don't have a boyfriend. If you're a girl, you have a girlfriend. You are LGTB. People aren't getting into relationships with people that consider themselves non-binary or any of these other weird ass adjectives. This is a sign that these kids are mentally gone. And they'll infect your kids too. It's a virus and it spreads through the English language, unfortunately.
Gathered. It started at around 10:30 this morning. KCCI's Marcus McIntosh was there as they let their voices be heard. He joins us live outside the state capitol now with the latest. Marcus?
Ben and Jody, I'm standing outside.
I wonder if if they found out he was a drug dealer, would they still be out there talking about ICE, let our drug dealers go? And the answer is yes. I saw protesters protesting a drug dealer being arrested in DC the other night. So the thing is, when you're on the left, there's no laws there are no laws that they won't defend. There's no criminality they won't defend. Especially if the person is black or an illegal, they'll defend whatever. The only people they don't mind clamping down on hard is somebody white, which is unfortunate.
Inside the state capitol on the front lawn because just moments ago, the rally ended. Now, that was a culmination of all the staggered walkouts that were student-led by Des Moines Public School high schools that happened throughout the day today. And you can see there are still people probably milling around in the background, but the rally ended just moments before the news started. Now, we spoke with students at two of the Des Moines high schools as they walked out in protest against ICE and the detainment of Dr. Ian Roberts. About 11 this morning, about 300 or so students walked out of Hoover High School, telling us it is important their young but strong voices be heard regarding the detainment of Dr. Ian Roberts. They chanted slogans and ended up gathering in the school parking lot. There, the students expressed how they feel. For some, the emotions of the situation boiled over.
He was here every day, regardless of our situation. He came out here and helped us.
It's his fucking job to be there every day. If you don't show up, you don't get paid. It's called work. You think these, for one thing, this kid's wearing a fucking bonnet, which is ridiculous. But who's teaching these kids? This is insane.
I never knew what Superintendent was until I seen him and he was talking to us. I've never seen that. He's so involved.
She doesn't understand that because she's too young. Little girl, you don't know why he was talking to you. You might think he was there because he liked you or because he wanted to help you. Help you what? You're a fucking student. You're there to go to school. You get picked up, you get dropped off. Your food is free. Your parents take care of you at home. What help was the superintendent? On what level does a superintendent help a student? Let's see here. He's not a teacher. He's not a counselor. He doesn't do PE, physical education. Why would a superintendent be speaking to the girls at school? I guess we can pontificate on that. Anybody in my audience, did any of you ever know the superintendent of your school when you were in high school? I didn't. Never met him. Never met people that I had no business talking to in the first place. I never knew that's like saying, hey, do you know the district superintendent that's above him? Do you know the president of the school board? Why would I know any of these people? I'm here to go to school, then I go home. It's basically a daycare for older kids. Why would the superintendent be dressed up with his hair braided, hanging around the high school, talking to the little girls? You know, every confession is an admission as well.
About an hour after the Hoover walkout ended, Roosevelt High School students walked out of their classes, also unhappy with Dr. Roberts' situation and ICE in general. They too have strong support for Dr. Roberts. Everyone we spoke with believes Dr. Roberts should not be removed as a leader of Des Moines Public Schools. Now, staggered walkouts started this morning at 10:30 at Central Campus, as well as this afternoon at North, Lincoln, and East High Schools. The walkouts, as I mentioned, culminated with a rally right here on the front lawn of the Iowa State Capitol that ended just moments ago.
I'll be honest with you, I kind of resent this whole designation being called ICE. I prefer they just be called police and law enforcement. I hate that they're being singled out. Immigration and customs enforcement, that should all be under the umbrella of law enforcement. Because what does customs do? They're enforcing the law. What does immigration? They're enforcing the law. I really hate the fact that they separate the two. And it makes it easy to kind of divide and conquer or to single them out. The same type of protections that police have, the qualified immunity, not only should be granted to ICE if it's not already granted, but it should be increased. They have a very tough job to do, but making it so that people can kind of specifically go at them and pretending they're not going after all law enforcement. No. They're law enforcement. You come after one, you come after all. You don't want immigration laws enforced, and you don't want crack laws enforced. You don't want murder enforced. You don't want rape enforced either. You can't say, oh yeah, I'm pro this crime, but I'm against these other crimes. No. We're going to be consistent across the board here. There's nothing that these people will not literally be brainwash others into defending. This little girl is talking about how he's here every day. Why the fuck is your superintendent there on campus talking to you every day? What an odd thing for a superintendent to be doing. But you don't want to consider that he was probably a predator and they caught him in the nick of time. And because you don't know his history, which is why he's an illegal, you can't say that what I'm saying is wrong. You don't know. Like and subscribe, share this video. If you have any comments, I want to hear them. But this is something that it's like, I don't understand. Again, is my compass the only one that's calibrated properly, or did everybody lose their fucking minds over the last couple of years? This is just insane. It's insane. I'll be back with another episode in a few minutes, and I'll see you guys shortly. Thank you, and share the video and like my page, The Single Boyfriend, Right Wing Rico.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.